wanted to make a little flow class for you all to be able to enjoy in your own time. It's a nice gentle flow which will suit all abilities, so I really hope you enjoy it. Let's all just make sure we've got a nice amount of space around us, and then when you're ready, hit play and let's get going. I'd like us to begin today in whichever position feels comfortable for you. So if you'd rather be seated, then please begin seated. We will begin our physical practice in Shavasana, lying down flat on our mat. So if that's where you would like to begin the whole class, please take your time now and bring yourself down to your mat. Once you arrive at your mat, whichever position that might be, let's take a nice soft gaze, either closing the eyes or just softening your gaze completely. Your hands can be down by your sides. If you're seated, then maybe your hands are resting on your knees. And let's just work with our natural breath for a few moments here. Trying to inhale and exhale through your nose. There's no need to change the breath. There's no need to manipulate the breath. Just let it flow. Take note of the quality of your breath. How long your inhales and exhales are, how deep they are, and just how they feel in your body today. Let's all take another 2 breaths here, and then we can get going and start our physical practice. If you'd like to have more time here, then feel free to just pop me on pause and lie here for a little bit longer. After those 2 breaths, if you're not already, then gently lowering yourself down to the mat, rolling your spine down, nice and slowly. Wherever you are, bending your knees and placing your feet flat on the floor. Let's just gently let our knees fall from side to side. So there's no need to move your body, there's no need to move your feet. Just letting your knees rock over from side to side. If you want to, you can turn your head to the opposite side your knees drop to create just a little bit of an extra stretch. Taking one more of these on each side. And then bringing your feet flat on your mat. And let's start to lift our legs. So sending our legs straight up above our hips, so our feet are reaching for the ceiling. When you're lying here, you can bring your hands around to the back of your legs if you'd like a bit of extra support. Otherwise, we're keeping our stomach sucked in, so our back is completely touching the floor. From here, pointing your toes and then pulling them back towards you. Taking a few more of these, moving through the point and the flex. Your legs don't have to be straight, you can have a bend in your knees here. Great. And then let's all take a few bend and stretches of the legs. So bending your knees in, straightening your legs out as much as you can. You can hug your knees all the way into your chest if you want to, and then straighten them up as much as you can. Nice, a couple more of these. Bending and stretching, trying to keep your upper body really relaxed as we take these movements. Great. And on this final one, hugging your knees into your chest, and we're going to rock ourselves up to a seated position. So taking as many rocks as you need to. It feels really nice on your back when you get into these rocks. So you can take a few, or you can just push yourself up nice and gently to a seated position. And then we'll cross our legs in front of us. Or if you'd rather, you can be kneeling here. Completely your choice, whether you'd like to be on your knees or with your legs crossed. Wonderful. Reaching one arm up and over the top, sweeping it into a side stretch. So the other hand can just rest on the floor. Coming into a nice gentle stretch here. Let's take it to the other side, swapping your arms over and reaching. Great, we'll go one more time on each side. This time I want you to look down towards your mat, so your gaze is down towards your hand. And then keeping this exact same position with your arms, twist your head so you look up towards your arm or up to the ceiling. Great, lifting your body up. Let's do exactly the same on the other side. So a nice gentle stretch, and then twist your head so your gaze is towards your hand. Then swapping over so you lift your gaze, you're looking up towards the ceiling or towards your arm. Gently lifting yourself back up to center, and let's bring both hands to rest on our shoulders. We're going to take some nice elbow circles here, so reaching your elbows back, then as they come forwards, we're trying to touch them in front of us before we then take them all the way back. So you can do these circles as quickly or as slowly as you want to. Try and make the circles as big as you possibly can. And then changing direction. Great, take at least 3 on each side. Nice big circles, touching those elbows in front of you. Lovely, and then release your arms, and we're going to roll ourselves forward. So we're in our kneeling position here. So when you're in your kneeling position, your tummy is sucked in, so you're really strong, and you want your arms to be completely straight. Nice, starting to drop the belly and pull your shoulders back, looking towards the front of the room. And then let's exhale, rounding your spine, keeping those arms really straight. Nice, inhaling, pulling your shoulders back, looking to the front of the room, you're sticking your bottom out. And exhale, gaze between your knees, drop your head down between your arms. One more time, looking to the front of the room. And exhaling, trying to really round through your back and your shoulders. Then coming to a neutral spine position. Great, let's take a few gentle twists. So lifting your left arm up, reaching your fingers towards the ceiling, and then we're going to thread that arm underneath the other one. So we're coming into our thread the needle position here. Nice, let's take that reach another 2 times. So inhale, we lift, reach your hand, look up towards that hand, and then exhaling as we scoop that arm underneath. One more time, lifting. Think about really twisting your hips and your body the whole way around as well. And then threading your arm underneath, resting your head on the floor, and let's hold it here. If you want to, you can release this supporting hand and take it around the back. Maybe you grab onto your clothing or your thigh, and this just increases the twist slightly. Wherever you are, make sure you haven't got any weight going through your head. It should just be your head resting on the floor. Your shoulder is taking your weight. Great, if you haven't wrapped this hand round, then release it, bring it back to the floor, and gently push yourself back up. So we're in our neutral spine, hands and knees. Great, let's go on the other side. Inhale to lift your arm up, stretch, stretch, stretch. And then we tuck it underneath. We thread it through. Wait, 2 more times. Stretching up, using your glutes to help twist those hips around so you've got a really open body. And then threading your arm underneath. Last time, inhale to stretch. And exhale to thread. Great, check in, make sure your bottom's still over your knees. Again, if you want to, you can release this hand and wrap it around your body to really help open this chest and pull your shoulder back. Another 2 breaths here. And then gently come out of the twist if you were in one. Push yourself up. And then let's walk our hands forward ever so slightly, tuck our toes and lift our hips into our first downward facing dog. Nice. You can shake your head, yes and no. Pedal the feet out, pushing your heels down. It doesn't matter if they don't go down to the floor. That's just what we're aiming for them to do. Nice. Looking towards the top of your mat and gently walking your feet up towards your hands. We then bend our knees to roll up slowly, coming into a mountain position at the top of our mat. So our mountain, we're stood really tall and strong, looking ahead of us. And then we inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Have a little bend in your knees, even if you don't need it, when you take the forward fold. Great, come up to a halfway lift, our flat back position. Move up as high as you need to. Try and keep your gaze in front of your feet. And then exhaling, your hands come to the floor. We step our feet towards the back of the mat, so we're in our plank position. Now we know we've got options here. We can either stay up on our toes or drop down onto your knees. If you're lowering onto your knees, then as you bend your arms, you're lowering chest and chin first. If you're up on your toes, you lower your whole body completely flat. Then inhale to lift up into a back bend. This back bend can be what you need it to be. If you want to, you can walk your hands forward slightly, so it just creates a more gentle back bend. Wherever you are, placing your hands under your shoulders, tucking your toes and pushing back, downward facing dog. Again, let's pedal those feet out. Pressing one heel down at a time. Thinking about your bottom going towards the sky, staying really high. And then bringing your feet up to join your hands. You can either step or you can take a couple of hops to bring yourself up. We'll bend our knees, lift ourselves up to standing as we inhale and our arms sweep straight up above our head. Lovely. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhale, come up through your halfway lift, your flat back, little bend in your knees. Exhale, placing your hand on the floor, but this time we're just going to step our left foot towards the back of the mat. Dropping your knee down, lifting your chest, so coming up onto your fingertips. Great, then your hands go down, flat on the floor to frame that front foot. Step the right foot back to join your left, so you're in your plank. And again, we'll move through our vinyasa, whichever plank you've chosen. Move with control as you lower yourself and scoop your chest up into your back bend, pulling your shoulders away from your ears as well. Great, rolling up over those toes as you push back, downward facing dog. Lifting your right leg into three-legged dog, so lifting that right leg high and then swinging it through to the top of your mat. So we're coming through another lunge and then we're stepping our left foot up to join our right, so we're in a forward fold. You can hop that left foot up as much as you need to. Great, bend into your knees, roll up to standing, arms sweep straight up above your head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, pull your belly in to help get that flat back. And we'll place our hands onto the floor and this time stepping our right foot towards the back of the mat. Dropping your right knee down, lifting up onto those fingertips. Your gaze goes to the front of the room, so we're opening our chest as much as possible here. Great, then hands go flat on the floor, framing your front foot. Step your left foot back to join your right plank. Moving through your plank, Hugging your elbows into your side body as you lower yourself down and lifting up. Back bend as you inhale. Great, lifting your hips high, rolling over your toes, downward facing dog, pressing your fingertips into the floor here and thinking about pulling your head towards the space in between your hands, and that will help you create more space between your ears and your shoulders. Great, this time we lift our left leg up and then we'll swing it through to the top of our mat, placing it in between our hands. Hold this lunge for a second and then step your back foot up to join it. Holding the forward fold this time. Nice. Bend your knees and roll yourself up. Arms sweep above your head. And exhale, just bring your hands down by your sides. Lovely. Okay, grab any water if you need to. Change any layers and then we'll get going into another little sequence. So standing at the top of your mat. Big toe joints together, little gap between your heels. Drawing your kneecaps up and standing tall. This time we're going to sweep our arms up above our head and sit our bottom down into our chair pose. So your weight comes straight into your heels. You can bring your hands to heart center or onto your hips, as it can be a very strong pose to keep your arms up above your head. Great. From here you can either forward fold to place your hands on the floor and step back into a lunge, or we lift one foot off the mat and step it towards the back of the room, so we're in our high lunge. However you've got here, make sure your back heel is pushing towards the back of the room. We don't want to be right up on that toe, we're pushing our heel back. Lovely. Placing your hands onto the floor to frame your foot and stepping back, so we're in our plank. We're going to roll ourselves out and into a side plank. So we can drop our knee down and then twist around, so we're in a lower side plank, or you can stay up on both feet. Lovely. Rolling back to center, lowering yourself down to the mat, coming into a gentle back bend. Lovely. Let's just take a little flow in this back bend here. So we'll lower ourselves down to the mat. Take your hands a bit further forward than they usually are and a little bit wider. And then just inhale to lift and exhale to lower. Take that a few more times. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Last time, inhale to lift up, exhale to lower down. This time as we lift up, we're going to push ourselves into our downward facing dog. Lovely. Then bending your knees, looking towards the top of your mat, step, hopping or jumping your feet up into your forward fold. As you bend your knees and slowly roll yourself up, our arms sweep up above our head. Great. On your next breath, we're sitting our bottom down, sweeping our arms up or just bringing them in front of us. Hold it here. Check your alignment. Tuck those hips under slightly so we've got a really long spine. See if you can sink a little deeper. Lovely. This time we're going to step back into a lunge with the other foot. So either stepping straight back from your chair position or bringing your hands to the floor through a forward fold. Hold it in your lunge for 3, 2, 1. Then our hands come down to frame our front foot. Step the other foot back to a plank, and we're going to roll into a side plank on the opposite side. Again, we can lower the knee down. Great. Your gaze should either be towards your supporting hand or up towards your extended hand. Make sure you've got a point to focus on, though, it will really help. Lowering yourself back around, and then sitting back onto your heels, child's pose. Great. Resting your forehead onto the mat. Taking some nice deep breaths here. And then you can either hold it here or otherwise keeping your hands where they are, lifting your bottom up so you come almost through your 4-point kneeling, and then you just lower your hips to the mat. So we can just flow between our child's pose and then lifting up, lowering the hips, cobra. When you're in this cobra, if this is too intense, have a bend in the arms or shuffle your hands forward slightly so it's not as intense. Great, you just sit your bottom back and start to lower your hips. Otherwise, just stop your hips wherever it feels comfortable for you. You can just lower halfway. You don't have to bring them down the whole way to the floor. Nice, and when you're finished with that, sit back to your child's pose. And then let's take 3 breaths in child's pose before we move on. Lovely. When you're ready, walking your hands forward, lifting your body. So again, we're on hands and knees, lowering down onto your forearm if you're feeling any pressure through your wrists, or you can come up onto your fists. But just be careful when you do that because it can be quite a lot on our fingers. Great. Simply stretching one leg out behind you at a time. So tucking your toes, pushing your heel to the back of the room. And we want to get a really deep calf stretch here. So you might want to push back with your hands as well. So your shoulders come slightly further back behind your wrists, but this will help you to get deeper into this leg stretch. Try and keep your leg really straight. Oh, sorry, my leg's squeaking on the mat. Right. And then when you feel that one stretch, place it on the floor, step the other one back, and push into the stretch. When you're here, keep your stomach sucked in so you still have a nice flat back. We don't want to suddenly let our bodies go. We're keeping everything strong. Releasing your feet, giving them a tap on the floor, giving them a little wiggle out. And then let's scoop our legs around to the sides so we're all sitting on our bottoms, on our mats. Lovely. Keeping your feet on the floor in front of you. I want us all to just lift our arms up, and we're going to gently start to lower ourselves back. Only go to where you can hold it. We're trying to keep a flat back as we go. So just go to where you can hold this flat back position, and you shouldn't feel any arching or pain in your lower back. When you find it, we're going to just hold it here, sucking that stomach in for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift it up. Great, we're going to go again. So maybe you don't lower quite down as far this time. Maybe you think you can go just as far. If you want even more of a challenge, then you can start to lift your legs off as well. You could do one leg at a time or both legs, but just make sure it's something that you can safely hold. So starting to lower yourself down, keeping that flat back, and let's hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lifting yourself up. Lovely. Great. Lowering yourself the whole way down to the mat this time. So letting your whole back come flat. Great. And then let's cross our legs. So in your position with your back flat on the floor. We're sat with our legs crossed. If you need to grab a pillow or a blanket so you can make this cross-legged position more comfortable, go for it. If you're really not comfortable with your legs crossed, then just keep your feet flat on the floor so your knees are bent and in line with your hips. Otherwise, crossing our legs, stretching your hands in front of you. So you're going to try and pull your hands towards the front of the room. Let's start to tuck our chin into our chest and peel our head, neck and shoulders off the floor. Now this might be enough for you. If you want to just hold it here, just hold it. Otherwise, let's take some gentle pulses. These are really small movements. They're just contractions of our stomach muscles. We're not doing a full sit-up and we're not using momentum. We're using the muscles. So let's keep going for another 8, 7. It's nice and slow. 6. Great. 5. 4. If you need to take a rest, then bring your whole body back to the floor. Otherwise, we've got another 2. Final 1. And lower yourself down to the mat. Reach your arms up above your head. And whilst you're doing that, we'll swap our legs over. So we've got them crossed the other way. And we're going to go for exactly the same again, but just with your legs crossed the other way round. Okay, so starting to reach your hands to the front of the room. Bringing your chin down to your chest, lifting your shoulders off. Great. If this is enough, then just hold it. Otherwise, as we start to pulse, what you're trying to do is just reach those fingertips towards the front of the room. Nice small movements. Remember, you can rest. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax down onto the mat. You can uncross your legs, place your feet flat on the floor. Nice, really let your abs completely relax. Again, feels good to stretch your hands up above your head, and we can take that windscreen wipe action with our legs again, just letting your knees fall from side to side. Lovely. And then from where you are, let's just release our hands back down by our sides, bring our knees into our chest. And then we'll come to our final position. You can either finish lying down on your mat or take some nice rolls to lift yourself up to seated. Again, take a couple, have a play with this. Roll backwards and forwards, enjoy it, just be careful. Otherwise, you can, of course, just roll onto your side and push yourself up if you don't feel comfortable rolling. Great, so whether you're finishing lying on your mat or seated, just take a nice deep breath, close your eyes and relax. Make sure your face is really relaxed, all of the muscles around your jaw, we've only got one, and your cheeks and your forehead. Great. Let's just enjoy this moment of stillness. All of the hard work is done. We can just bring our attention back to the natural breath. Feel it move through your body. Notice if it's different or the same as to the beginning of our practice. There is nothing expected of you right now. If you want to take any movements that feel good for you, then go ahead and take those. And then when you feel ready, Gently starting to blink your eyes open, keeping your chin tucked down towards your chest for now, so that when we blink our eyes open, we've got a soft gaze to the floor in front of us. Then we can gently lift our head up and join our hands together at heart center. We'll bow forward to finish our practice. Namaste. I hope you all enjoyed that today. I hope it was a nice little flow that you've been able to do at a time that you needed it and it felt really good for you. So thank you so much for coming and having a little flow with me today. Have a great rest of your day or evening or morning, wherever you are doing this, and hopefully I will see you soon.